Jack Loudon, who was an RAF fighter pilot in Dunkirk, is in this film we are going to talk about today. But first, know that he was Lord Darnley in Mary Queen of Scots. So, quick throwback to the Mary episode. Thus, removed from the public audio episode was what I call the clock incident.
Yeah.
Good news is that this episode was filmed in VR. Bad news is that YouTube does not want to process it as 360. So if you want to see it, ask me next time we meet. It works on my phone. Now, I'm bringing this incident back as it happened because of a confusion that the clock was placed here to help us keep time and stay under an hour per episode. As I explained in another episode, it is actually following at least 3 episodes with guests when we had to finish abruptly when we realized what time it was that I got the clock in. I had other plans to help us keep track of episode time, and that is the moment I'm revealing those plans. The point of keeping our episode under an hour is to be able to make a fringe show out of the podcast, which gives us one major restriction: power. We can't rely on electricity for this, so what I'm introducing today is our timekeeper. It will not be in the frame of our videos, but in front of us, on stage, or here in the flat. All hail the timekeeper.
Oh. Dun, 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 dun. What is that, Star Wars?
That was Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds.
Thunderbirds, go. 5, 4.
So that's 60 minutes, an hour.
I've done 8 years in prison, mainly violence. So
Mainly violence.
today is all about Stephen Merchant's Fighting with My Family.
Mm-hmm.
It's a great title because the meaning changes depending on what word you put an emphasis on or not. And even greater is that some of that subtlety is transferred to the French title.
Oh, nice.
Yes.
That's rare.
It's Une famille sur le ring in France and Lutte en famille in Quebec, which is a bit, it does not take the subtlety as well, the Quebec one. This film is produced by WWE Studios.
That's very cool.
Yeah, it was.
I like how they were involved.
I mean, WWE have put out some strange tie-in stuff. I don't know if anybody knows there was a sequel to Surf's Up.
No.
Yeah, there was a sequel to Surf Up, and it features 5 of the WWE superstars in it. They did a tie-in with Scooby-Doo at one point as well recently. I think John Cena and Undertaker, I want to say, were in a Scooby-Doo movie.
Yeah, I think I saw the trailer for this.
But this is the first one that I've seen that's with the WWE studios, because I haven't watched either of those 2 movies, so I don't know if they have the studio tie-in with that. Yeah, it was nice to see. A lot of memories with WWE, actually. Anyway, do we have any stories with WWE before we start? Did either of you watch wrestling at all?
I used to watch WWE with my ex a lot. Yeah. It was like a huge thing.
Did you witness any magical moments? Do you remember any of them?
Oh God, they're kind of all whooshling together, but that's a new word for you on a t-shirt. The Undertaker was a huge one.
Oh, when they killed him?
Yeah.
Or when he retired? I remember the retiring one.
Yeah.
But then I think he came back.
Yeah, he came back. So the comeback was there. I definitely, funnily enough, was into Paige. Like, she was my favorite. Not only because I have a huge crush on her, but because maybe it's because she's British or because she was a little bit different, with the black hair, and she was a little bit gothy and everyone else was very American and toned and, a little bit like how this film showed. I kind of immediately was connected to her. And so that definitely was something that drew me to this film.
My tie-in is I had a friend, I still do have a friend, but I haven't seen him in years. We used to play the video games.
Oh, God. Were they good?
Oh, yeah.
Oh, really?
On the PS2, you would it was always, we had a favourite, which was cage match, because you could climb on top of the cage and throw people off. And then there was obviously chairs and ladders and all these great things you could do. And that was the fun, because you got to just you didn't have to watch the show, because the difficulty in Britain was that you could never really find it unless you were staying up in the morning, because it was obviously American times. I would occasionally see it on Saturday mornings if I was up early after on the weekend when I was high school or primary school, I want to say. It was the maybe 10, 11, 12, that time, that kind of age. where it would be on repeats on Sky, but because it was always on Sky Sports. But I would never see it live. But mainly the video game is where my memories are, which I had a great time playing them. They were so fun.
Oh, that's cool. No, I was never into the video games at all. But yeah.
Yeah, I have no connection at all. But I've got to tell you right away, the film felt a bit like a punch in the face. In a good way.
In
Fitting,
a good way.
It let me wanted more. And I loved it. I actually only realized it was a true story at the end. It says it clearly at the start, a true story, but I didn't see that. So I've actually watched yesterday the 45-minute doc, the wrestlers fighting with my family.
Oh, the Channel 4 documentary.
Yes. And I was left a bit confused because they are documenting plenty of that stuff. So how did they manage to get all were they called like, oh, we have this thing that's coming, or because they are following from before and after the call? I mean, it's plenty of, they must have stayed weeks there. I don't know.
For what?
For the documentary.
Well, yeah, because they would have because they would have approached the family, because UK wrestling, there is a huge UK wrestling scene in the same way of WWE. It's not as mainstream, but it's definitely there, because my dad talks to me about like the wrestling, old school wrestling from the UK. Like it is a big thing.
Yeah, it doesn't have like the kind of production that America brings to it, and the kind of the whole spectacle of it, right? It's like a huge show, but it's definitely, and this is something that they touch on in the film. They talk about how she actually knows how to wrestle, and quite a lot of the people that are involved in the audition process are actually like dancers or cheerleaders.
So to go back to the thing I was saying about the documentary, so they'll probably they would have known the family, known the story, be around for when that was going to happen, and then they just come back and do the shoot, like a pickup for the end of it. Like famously, what's his face, Aaron Sorkin's film The Social Network. If only that had not been made then, that would have a different ending to how it did now. Like there would be a continuation if the events were there. So in this sense of like, if they knew that she was going to debut at WrestleMania or on WrestleMania, they would absolutely come back and shoot it. You know, like get that added on chunk, because you see that sometimes documentaries pick up. Like Louis Theroux did that with the Westro Baptist Church. Like he came back later on after a couple of years and stuff like that.
Oh, so you're saying that they did that as a pickup rather than they saw how successful she was and then came back and did the documentary and then kind of acted it out? Because
I think doesn't the documentary happen when they're like signing up? Like, so the course of that fallout.
Yeah, but she signs at 18.
Yeah.
And that rock thingy that she's diva is at 21.
Yeah.
Right. So it's kind of, it's almost like she was successful and then they went back to like document how she became successful. So it's a documentary, but it's not like we're following this as this happens. It's like, do you know what I mean?
Yeah, they would have shot the story of her going off to be signed as a superstar.
After she actually became successful, no?
No, because the documentary happens. The events of the documentary are the events, like the bit where he is not signed. They cover that in the documentary, right?
Okay, so I was going to this. So I'll give a brief overview of what happened in real life.
Yeah.
But I'll be short because all the changes obviously were made for dramatization, and I loved all of those. So they were following the story of a young woman called Saraya Jade Bevis, who's also known as Brittany Knight, and Paige then. Yeah, her brother, no brother was in prison in the dock at all. He helped. The brother that we know was not accepted right away, but he was told to come back when he had gained 2 stones of lean muscle, and it took a while, and then he had a TV thing, but it didn't get him. And there is a nice moment where he explains plenty of people were asking him if the energy was like radiating was not of someone who really wanted to do that. So in the end, it goes nowhere. Also, in the idea of the dad grooming the kids to become champions, she has a big sister, Nikki, who got a chance to move to Japan when she was 13, and everything was signed and everything, but she was too young, so she was like, no, I don't want to go. And the dad was mad for a week after that.
Okay.
Yeah.
So they used different aspects of the family and sort of, dramatized it. Mm-hmm.
The dog, Kaiser, puppy, very nice. He does something that my dogs do, which is very annoying, rolling in dead rabbits.
Oh, no.
Yeah, it does that in the documentary. She did cry at the airport. And the announcement, when The Rock announced to her that she was going to be win the tournament the following day, that's the same day he announced to her that the movie was being made about her.
Oh, really?
Yes.
Wow, what a day for her.
Yeah, and she said like 95% of the whole film is exactly what happened. So
That's amazing.
Cool.
Yeah.
Because when you look at it, it is an amazing story to tell. I mean, it's too good not to do a film on.
Yeah, I agree.
Because there are so many parallels that even if you're not a wrestling fan, that you can draw to. Because when we were watching it, I was like, this is what it's like when you want to audition for drama school or any university or something that matters, that is huge, and the odds of getting in are slim.
But you do it anyway.
So it's a very human story of wanting to succeed, which really plays well here. That it's faithful to wrestling, but also it's able to branch out into a wider story, that it's not so pigeonholed into being a tale of solely wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's what attracted Stephen Merchant. Like, it was one night The Rock was struggling to fall asleep, and then he saw that doc, and there was a connection with Stephen Merchant, and then, and that happened. There's something that happens at the O2. That's where they are doing their trials, I think, or whatever. Did you know that you can walk on the O2?
Yeah, I've never done it because only time I go to the O2 is like if I'm seeing something. So you never have enough time.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've seen. Have you done it?
I watched because there is at the moment of this recording. You can dinner in the sky. I don't know if you've heard about this. So basically it's a crane and you can have lunch or dinner high in the sky, like you have harnesses and everything.
Oh, they did something like that for in Berlin, because we were just there on the telecommunication tower that's in Berlin. Apparently you can have dinner up there as well.
But it's not on a crane.
Well, there is a crane that actually holds a kind of a thingy with a table and seats.
Oh my god, that is so cool.
I think I'll pass.
Yeah, I think
I'll pass.
Me and Yann can go.
No, but I was investigating that to go with my brother, and it's right now at the time of this recording located right next to the O2. And so identifying what the O2 was, I saw that you can walk on it, but no, I haven't.
I had no idea.
There's a little thing at one point. I don't know if it's something you do as kids. In the UK, they were trying to smash a bulb with bricks and a broom and thing.
No, it's just if you're bored and there's. I think the setup there is that because they don't really have anything else to do. Kids that live in these like cities and there aren't any like outlets or like clubs or parks or whatever that they do. You just end up doing stupid shit like throwing bricks or attaching a hammer to like several sticks and trying to smash a light and stuff like that. So I think that's not something that every kid in Britain does yet. But it's just like if you're bored and there's nothing else to do. Oh, could we do this? It's like climbing a tree, but they don't have any trees.
Yeah.
I liked it. I'm sorry. I thought the hot dogs were free.
She thought she was in trouble.
Yeah. And it's funny that it really happened. And so I think, I don't know how you pronounce her last name, Pugh? Florence Pugh? No, Pugh?
Oh, the actress.
Pugh, I think.
Yeah.
It would be Pugh, because I think GH.
Oh, right, yeah.
P-U-G-H, yeah.
Yeah, I think that's Pugh.
Okay.
Yeah.
She was in Lady Macbeth just before, which I started watching, but it was time to go enjoy a concert, so I stopped in the middle. Another thing before, and now she's slated to be in the next Hereditary, Ari Aster, the guy who did Hereditary, his next movie, she will be in it.
Right, okay.
She'll also be in an upcoming Greta Gerwig thing, and entitled Black Widow film.
Okay.
Yes.
That'd be interesting. Yeah, she was really good in this, so be interesting to see where she goes next. Yeah, I think she played Paige really well. Well, what's her name? What's her real name? Saraya Bevis?
Saraya Jade Bevis, yeah.
Saraya Jade.
I ordered some Saraya merch yesterday.
Oh, really? Did you really?
Yeah, she has nice t-shirts and stuff.
Cool.
I think she's the coolest. She really is. It also really made me want to watch more WWE because it is such a good show. Like, I remember the first, because of course, like, I'm not super into like UFC fight, like real fighting, just because I'm too sensitive. Like, if I see someone being really smashed in the face or broken bones, like, I just can't deal with that. So, even though I admire it so much. So actually this is quite a nice way of being like, it's fake and it's acting and it's also all a bit crazy. Like they throw chairs on each other and they like fall out of the ring. And then, you know, in a very American over the top way, it's like, oh no, what has he done? Oh my God. Oh, he's going to feel that in the morning.
I can't believe it.
And there are also fake feuds during interviews and stuff.
Oh yeah.
Oh, they're the best. They're the best. Yeah, where the fight starts off and like the VT between the fights.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or they're just talking to the interviewer and then the other person walks behind them like, I'm walking behind you. Yeah. Guys, don't get in a fight. Don't get in a fight. I'm gonna rip you. Like it's all it's like all trash talk. It's so ridiculous.
Yeah,
what are you doing with my partner over there? I'm his partner now.
It's in the actual footage of the Divas champion. There's this whole, no, I just came to see, I didn't come to fight you or something. I put my title on the line thingy. That's quite funny. The whole theatrics.
Yeah. Scripted theatrics. It's brilliant. Yeah. It's very cool that she came from like a wrestling family. And like, wasn't it called like WWA?
WAW.
WAW.
Well, yeah, the dad is still owner of that thing in Norwich.
Yeah, it's really cool.
I feel that with this one, it feels very, it's strange because Stephen Merchant is known mainly now for like British films. If we look, even going back to TV like The Office and Extras with Ricky Gervais, and then his own work. This is his first foray as a director, I believe. I think this is his first go. But I don't know if any of you two have seen Cemetery Junction, which is a British coming-of-age film that he did with Ricky Gervais a couple of years ago. And it's very much a British film. There's a very strange line of between this, in some places felt like a British film, and in other places didn't. But I'm quite happy with that. I like the balance between both.
Because well, I guess you had American influence, didn't you, with like producers and WWE being involved and... Like, the wrestling is kind of British-American, so the whole film is going to feel in the middle, right?
Yeah.
I think it did.
I mean, British films, usually, it's not the spectacle isn't there in the grand sense. Like, there'll be a large story going on. Like, you can't imagine, like, a spectacle moment happening in a Ken Loach movie.
No.
You know,
I mean, we like drama, but we like kind of real drama, rather than it being, like, entertainment drama or theatrics.
Yeah, so I like that balance, because it felt... Because a lot of the writing was really clever. There was only one case that it wasn't that the writing was bad. It was just that I was like, oh, I wish they had more faith in their audience here. Which is the whole, when Vince Vaughn's character is explaining that the thing he explains to Paige that would happen to our brother is what happened to him. In my head, I was like, they didn't need to tell us that that's what happened to him. I got that.
Yeah, I got that. Yeah.
But that's the only criticism I have of the writing, because everything else was amazing. I just wish they'd been brave enough to go, let the audience figure out why he knows this. But that's from us, you know, we watch so much stuff and we're wired into that sort of thing. We're looking for it. I don't think it takes away from anything.
That's, when they're outside the station, right?
Yeah, the gas station after she's like picked on them on the bus. Yeah,
that's a bit redundant with what The Rock says at the end. So they could have just kept that, maybe. Because at the end he says, there's another called back to that specific story at the end.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he calls him sexting.
Oh yeah. As in, like, if he hadn't said at the end, Vince Vaughn hadn't said that was me, and then The Rock explains that was him at the end. That would work. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that's a good point.
He says something like, yeah, of course I know this guy. He once jumped to make me look good.
Yeah.
Yeah. But that's the only criticism I really have of being laid out for us.
And I guess you could, if you really wanted to love this movie up, you could look at it as like, that's just her being naive. Like, she didn't realize that that's what he was saying. And so she kind of needs a bit longer to like hit that sometimes you don't get what you wish for, and sometimes you kind of just need to go roll with the punches, and it might not be your dream, but you can still be involved in that world, which is what happened to Vince Vaughn's character, right? Like, he's involved in the world, but his dream was shattered.
Yeah.
Not shattered, but
it wasn't what he didn't have the glory. He does something else.
He didn't have the spark.
I liked Vince Vaughn not being Vince Vaughn as we currently know him.
Yes.
It's nice to see Vince Vaughn act again.
Yeah.
And be good, which it makes you more annoying when you see Vince Vaughn and he's not being good.
Well, you believed him, didn't you?
Yeah, this reminded me of True Detective Season 2, as much as Season 2 of True Detective gets a lot of stick, mainly because Season 1 of True Detective is phenomenal, and they did something different with Season 2. Vince Vaughn is very good in that.
Well, it's like Michael McConaughey has that problem too. Like, he's got so many terrible films where he like overacts and he's smarmy and he's like the sleazy guy.
And then he does Texas Dallas Buyers Club.
Yeah, and you're
you're
just
like, holy shit.
You can really act, man. Like, you're actually a genius. And it just goes to show that in a world like this, and WWE is exactly the same, which was actually interesting to make that parallel between our industry and her industry.
Casting people know where to find people. I mean, Vince Vaughn did not audition for this.
No.
Right. So do you think it was not written, but it was they were like, we want you? Do you mean like that?
I don't remember what he said in his interview, but not necessarily, but kind of they knew that he does that kind of stuff well.
Yeah.
Right.
No, yeah, that's true. He's sort of like how it evolves. I can't remember the actor's name that plays, is it Mickey in Rocky, Rocky's coach? I think it's Mickey. That sort of like, or Mr. Miyagi, the sort of like mentor role.
Definitely, yeah.
Like that's where Vince Vaughn, because didn't he rise because he was like the best friend in something? Like one of these like comedy, like stoner comedies, he was like the best friend sort of role. Like
my best friend, wasn't it something? Oh, the wedding crashes.
Oh, that's it. Yeah, was he the lead or the other guy in that?
I think it was. I mean, I don't know,
because he does. Because that's quite clever, because he's kind of grown into this role of like the supporting actor. It's kind of where you look if you want examples of actors that aren't stealing the spotlight is not on them, but they're giving an excellent performance.
Yeah, I mean they say that to you like before you get into the industry, or at least when you're just starting out. Like, learn what your casting is. And some people just aren't the lead role. And Vince Vaughn just isn't the lead, even though he's done leads before. But in terms of like, if you look at him and what he usually does, he's not the lead man. And actually he does best in this kind of role where, he's like mentor or best friend. And I mean, in the beginning, he's a bit of an arsehole, right? Like, he's like the pinnacle of casting couch arsehole. Like, you won't make it. I don't care about you.
You're one of
10 million. Buck up, that kind of talk. And it's inspiring, but also kind of annoying, because especially for the brother, what's his name?
Jake.
No,
Zach. Sorry.
Zach Attack.
Zodiac Zach.
Oh,
Zodiac. Zach. Something like that.
Yeah, Zodiac Zach. Right? Mm-hmm. He just doesn't have it, whatever that means.
Yeah. Obviously, also the kid, and they added all of that, but yeah, that was. I mean, that's drama that you had to have. That's the difference between real life and television or film or so.
Yeah. And it must happen a lot. Like, you come in as a pair and then you have something, but the other person doesn't, or the other way around. Like, you kind of feel for the brother, and that's probably the part of the drama that you're thinking, oh God, how would you feel if, like, you're an actor and you're at an audition, and the person that you auditioned with, who's your brother or best friend, is told to go home.
And you give an arc to that character also, because in the documentary, the brother is just there. Now he has an arc.
Yeah. And and also he could have gone either way. Like, there was even some scenes where I was like, is he going to kill himself, or is he going to try, or is he going to leave? Like, it could have gone any way, which I think makes for good writing if you don't know where it's going to go. Right. And in this whole film, I had no idea where it would go. Yeah.
In a good way. You mean in the sense of like, you don't know what to anticipate, as opposed to where is this going? Because we've had cases of we've watched film and going, what's going on? Why are we doing this? And then you get cases of films of going, I want to know where this goes, but I'm not sure where it's going.
Yeah, because like sometimes you're watching something and it's like, oh, I could see that a mile away. I knew they were going to do this and I'm bored of it already because I've like played it in my head already. This was like, it could go either way. And I didn't know which path they would take. And I think that shows good writing.
It's good when that happens in the film. The last film that happened to me in was Cube.
Yann, have you seen this film?
When it was released, yes.
It's a good film. We should maybe talk about it because we were like, what is this pile of crap? And then the end of it's like, this was great.
In the beginning,
we were like, what is this?
This is really weird. But we were hooked the whole way through.
Great.
It was a precursor of all the Saw.
Yeah, that's probably why I liked it, right?
Yeah, yeah. But I mean, I think you, Adam, immediately picked up on that. That was the first time that you saw something like that. And yeah, again, it was like, where is this going? In a good way, basically. Yeah.
We usually have in the background a sign that gives the title. Now I reversed. What did I write on the title thingy on your left, Anouk, today?
We Love Saraya 2019. Yeah. Yes, we do.
Yeah, she's something.
She's very cool. To be fair, like, I haven't watched WWE. I don't know who is still in it. So I'm glad that she kind of carried on and did stuff. And because The Rock was talking in the after, I don't know what they're called, after credit things, interviews.
In the mid-credit, yeah, actually. During the credits.
Mid-credits. He was talking about how she's like one of the biggest stars ever, right? WWE stars. And so that's awesome.
She retired in 2018.
Oh, she retired last year. Oh, wow. I mean, I'm guessing on your body, it must be hell.
Yeah, she realized she had scoliosis.
Oh, no.
All that time. Oh, yeah. And the brother, he had like knee issues. So he started that early that he had issues that didn't prevent him from actually trying. But yeah, in the end, didn't go.
Oh, scoliosis is painful as well. My cousin has it. Yeah, that's sad. I hope she gets up sorted.
Yeah, but I think she's like a manager of one of WWE sections or something.
She'll be fine.
Yeah,
it's like she kind of it's applied by the after credit thing we get. It's true that she kind of reinvents what female wrestling was. Because I remember the video games, and it's very much the whole they don't really wear anything. And I was playing these games in like 06 and 07, so like years ago. And I haven't watched WWE since, but it's good that someone came in and breathed this whole breath of fresh air. And on two fields, not just the whole, female side of it too, but they also like the fans that are out of the ordinary, that are, because the WWE, it does have this image of like muscular, attractive men like John Cena and The Rock and so on. And it was nice that somebody just that looks distinctly different came in and there is somebody that you can attach to, and it didn't matter who you were.
Sure.
Also, there's this element in the doc that there was a huge UK wrestling scene years and years ago. He died, and they were pretty much the WAW, the only ones left.
Sure. And it's also not as glamorous as maybe it used to have been. And it's like also sort of in a way trying to get kids off the street and doing, trying to get back into not even the community, but doing good rather than, drug dealing or getting into trouble. Because as you were saying earlier, that like if you're in a town where there's like hardly anything to do, we know in Britain we're having a huge issue with that at the moment. I can't speak for the rest of the world, but that's definitely something that we've got a huge problem with. Just these huge concrete towns that just have nothing for young kids. They have no outlet. And so that's probably what it was talking about, that like, even though it might not, come to anything, it doesn't mean that you should and that's what the brother kind of learns, right? Like, just because you don't have millions of followers doesn't mean that you're not doing anything important.
Well, that's what Skins was. Skins highlighted the world of what real Britain in a stylized form,
dramatized,
in a stylized, dramatized form, because they didn't really have. I mean, they were at college, so it's a bit different than like kids that their age. But still, it's the idea of like there wasn't really anything else for them to do except hang out with each other and get up to stuff, and
party and drugs
and all that sort of thing.
Sex, yeah.
Because I mean, when I was growing up, I was a scout. I did gymnastics and swimmings, and then I did the swimming. And then I joined the Scouts, and then in my later teens, youth theatre that led me into this world of acting. So I did things, but when I wasn't doing that, I mean, I played video games, but if I didn't do that, I wouldn't have nothing, or I would hang out with my friends. Like,
yeah, you have no like outlet.
Yeah, there isn't really that many things anymore, and it's getting less and less. So although I don't really know because we don't have kids and we don't know anybody that has kids that young, so I don't know if that's necessarily true or not. I'll find out though. I've got cousins, so I'll ask them.
Yeah, I also think it's also about money and class. You know, like you're talking about if you're in a town where kids from low economic backgrounds who don't have the money to do any of these things. Or don't have the parent support to start anything new, where are they going to go? Like, of course they're going to turn to blah, blah, blah.
Yeah.
And that's probably the point that, you know, this van with the loud music and the WAW on the side, it was like the kids like look forward to it because it's, you know, the one thing that makes them feel like they're part of something bigger.
Yeah.
And like, you know, sport's always been kind of that. What's amazing about it is because you don't need that much money to get involved in certain sports.
Good choice of music in the van. Bring your daughter to Slaughter Iron Maiden.
Oh, yes.
What a choice of song. Great song.
Proper rockers.
Do you want a fun fact about Iron Maiden?
Go for it.
We might do the Iron Maiden documentary actually at some point, but fun fact.
I don't know much about Iron Maiden.
The fun fact is the lead singer has a pilot's license, so he flies the jet that they use. So they save a hell of a lot of money to have to hire a pilot for their tours.
That's awesome.
So he's flying this massive jet that has like the band logo on it as well, like the Eddie, the creature. I think it's Eddie. I hope it is Eddie. I think it is. But yeah, so that's just a fun fact about Iron Maiden.
So that was a little bit of I tried to keep connecting it to the film, but that was a bit of a path.
No, it's fine because that's the important thing as well. It's like this film, it branches out into different subjects because it doesn't just focus on the wrestling side. There is a lot in here that you can focus on, even if like the idea of getting involved in something, even if you don't know much about it, like. Because that's the first scene we get, is one of the first scenes even, is when they're handing out the flyers and we have the three girls come up and go, like, women wrestling. That scene at the beginning, and like the separation, like wrestling is a bit odd.
But you're a girl. Oh my God, is she not?
It's like, no, I am.
And do girls walk away arm in arm a lot? Does that actually happen? That was another thing in the film. I was like, that doesn't happen, does it?
It's also a power thing. Like, I think girls do that when they want to make you feel like an outsider. Because it's like, if I'm walking away from you and I'm linked, it's like a power thing. Yeah.
Squad goals.
That's the only thing. I mean, it's dramatized, but I also went to an all-girls school. So I also know that girls do this. So yes. They do.
Thanks for answering that.
But it's not because, we want to be close. It's usually to make you feel like shit.
No, I got that from the film. I was just like, do girls still do they do that? But it's good to know.
Yeah, they do.
I love the English language. Sometimes you've got, without realizing some song things, girls do this.
Yeah.
That thing you do. Can we talk about one of the best scenes in the film, which is the family dinner?
Oh, it's so brilliant.
Any scene with the family is just...
It was nice
great.
It was nice to see Lena Headey...
Not killing everybody.
But also not being like, you know, posh and a bit of a bitch. Like, totally different casting.
From Cersei Lannister.
And also Nick Frost, because he usually does do the kind of gruff, friendly guy.
He either does gruff or he does... bumbling best friend.
Yeah, this was kind of both.
A little bit,
together.
Yeah.
But also like caring father and responsible in his own way.
Again, it's a great example of doing a real life person. I mean, I know we've talked about Jeffrey Rush before with Shine.
Oh, yeah.
But I think both Lena Headey and Nick Frost do an excellent example. And I've forgotten the name.
Florence,
yeah, as well. But Nick Frost and Lena Headey especially really nail the line between real life and acting. Like their portrayals of these two people, having seen a small part of the mum and the dad and features on the DVD, is just great. They really capture a bit of everything. They bring themselves and they bring the real people, which is extremely hard to do. And it's really impressive.
It was interesting as well because I was watching it and I forgot that they were actors. And I think it's one of these, it's usually why actors kind of go unthanked, because our job is to make it look like we've done nothing, right? And it's the same with anyone doing like behind the scenes, behind the camera. It's like our job is to make things look effortless and like they're all from real life. But it takes a lot of work. And I was actually watching it thinking like, oh, I believe every single one of these people. Like they're so real.
And even the girls as well. Even I was looking at the IMDb of some of the other female wrestler recruits. What would you call them? Like trainees?
The TNAs?
Yeah. And it was like, it reminded me of like what Greg Sestero talks about in the Disaster Artist book, like all the films he did. Because one of the actresses' IMDb's is like one of the things she did was Wrong Turn 6. I was like, they made 6 of those?
Yeah.
But it was nice. There was nobody bad.
No.
Nobody was terrible. Nobody was bad. And I think that's a good sign of direction from Stephen Merchant, because when you see like names that you might think, oh God, they were in this film and that film. Even if you see somebody in a bad film, you think, oh, they're a bad actress. And then you see them in a film, in this. If I saw somebody in this film acting bad, I'm like, well, what happened? Because they were all believable. The females were believable. The males, everyone was believable. There wasn't really a bad performance in it.
Yeah, I think some actors need a good director. That's nothing against an actor, but it just depends on what you need.
Yeah.
And if you don't have good people behind you, sometimes you are terrible on screen.
Or the writing.
So that's not your fault.
Like, if you're in a horror film that's like number 7 in the series, I mean, we can talk for prime example. We watched all the Saw movies. Like, the acting got worse and worse as it went on, but the writing got worse and worse as it went on too. So it's like, it's a balance for actors. I mean, sometimes you're the bad actor, sometimes it's the writing, sometimes the directing. It's like, you never know. You never know what it's going to be, and you never know what the audience are going to think either.
Well, some of the tactics used by Kaiser were a bit shaky. But what do you know? He doesn't know the technique is a dog.
He needs lessons. At least he didn't take the lessons from the dog in Roma.
Oh, yeah.
There was not a single shred of dog mess anywhere in the film. So good work from Kaiser there.
Yeah, they fed him correctly. I don't know what that dog was eating as we discussed this. Yeah, I that's actually going back to a point that Adam made, you know, the feel from when she's back at home to when she's in LA, like it immediately changes. And that was probably like on purpose because you're supposed to feel different. But I don't know how they managed to do that. Like made you feel like whenever she was back with her family, it was like warm and nice and smaller. Yeah. Even. And then in LA, it was like huge and kind of officey and
well, just even the contrast in the cinematography. Is the striking difference between Britain and America was well implemented to strike that balance.
Where the training was happening, Florida, right? You meant?
Yeah, Florida, Miami, innit?
Oh, right, yeah.
It looked like, well, it had a beach, so it could be
anywhere. No, it looked like Miami.
It probably was Miami.
Yeah. Oh, well, I actually quite liked how the other 3 girls weren't just tits and ass.
Yeah, how that was flipped.
Yeah, it was cool because also it's that like usually when you meet someone that looks that beautiful and that toned, etc., they're usually very lovely people. They just look like that. Like that's okay. Do you know what I mean? It's like it's in so many Hollywood films you get this thing of like, oh, they're obviously going to be a bitch because no one can look like that and be nice, and it's kind of not true. Like, do you know what I mean? Like, just because you look after yourself in that way and you want to look a certain way, it doesn't really mean. And it seemed from when Florence Pugh was talking about how when she was working with the other girls, that they seemed like they were trained in something. Like, it might not have been wrestling, but they were either like dancers or fighters themselves, or like they understood the choreography so they could help her in stuff. So that was really interesting. So
Well, it was interesting to find out that they put them through the training camp that you get for WWE, which, if anyone wants a watch of what that looks like, Louis Theroux's Weird Weekends, where he does professional wrestling, he tries to do it and gives up halfway through because he's like vomiting and he can't do it. It's a great piece of documentary work because the guy really puts him through his paces.
Yeah.
So if you want to see what the training the actors went through for that, Louis Theroux's Weird Weekends is where to look for examples of what that could be, or online
That's
as well.
Interesting.
But yeah, that was good things to know.
Yeah, it's a tough job, man, as we can see.
There was a nice thing I spotted that I love spotting this in film. It's like, obviously when it's not Christmas when you film it. So how do you make your stuff look like Christmas? And they did well because they decorated the inside of the van. But also, what I did laugh, because this does actually happen in Britain, is that they were the only house in that cul-de-sac that had decorations up, because clearly, you know, it's a set, they're going to dress the house, it's like June whenever they filmed it. But you do get that in Britain where some people will put, only one person in the street will put outside lights on of
No
their
one
house,
else.
and nobody else does, because everyone else knows that they do it, so it's like, oh, they'll do it, it's fine, we don't have to do it. So it was a bit nice. It was, even for a British person, it's like, I believe that would happen. So I thought that was pretty good to implement without looking forced.
I didn't even clock that. That's so funny.
Yeah, I thought that was good.
Mm-hmm.
Anything else that stands out immediately to me that I wanted to talk about? The music. I said this while we were watching it. Some of the main track going on really reminded me of a track that's on Isolani. The main track in Isolani, actually, like the guitar progression was similar, or the overall sound, like the mix, reminded me of it, which was quite nice to hear.
Oh,
Just linking.
Oh, I'll definitely listen to that then.
Yeah.
Again.
I doubt they were by the same person, but that was nice to hear. Just something I picked up on.
If you want some nice t-shirts or even makeup, cosmetics,
Do we have
stuff,
a sponsor?
No, but you go to the sarayastore.com and you'll get stuff from Paige.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, because she retired, so you can't, I mean, if you go on WWE page, you've got a few things, but most stuff that she's getting, like all from and like Saraya Store thing, you get directly on there, and there's not really any wrestling stuff. It's, yeah.
Well, that's smart because, you know, if you've moved on from that, you expand what you are, because you now become the brand per se. Excellent video come out a couple of weeks ago from Nerd City, who's doing a whole series on YouTuber merch. He talks about, for example, like the most successful merch is usually something that's not directly related to what you're doing. It'd be like if we brought out a shirt that was like a quote from one of our episodes, like the Nosferatu joke that we had like way back in episode 6 or whatever. Like people that knew what that joke was would get it, but nobody else really would. So it's like walking the line between what you're known for and what looks nice to anybody else as well. So I think it's a good choice for her to like expand out more than just the wrestling merch, which is a good business choice.
It's like what the Last Exit to Nowhere is doing. You have to have seen the movies to actually understand what those t-shirts and stickers and hoodies are about.
But
I
look
like
nice.
it when they do that, though. I like obscure things where you wouldn't get it if you weren't like a fan.
I just went to see Back to the Future in concert, and obviously you get the 2 pints and then Lone Pine, and they have those 2 t-shirts, the Lone Pine Mall Center and 2 Pines Mall Center.
Oh, I love it. Yeah.
I mean, we could almost compare your 2 shirts that you've got on. Yann has got a very niche, you have to have seen the episode to know what the line is. And Anouk has the logo for BioShock, which even if you don't know what BioShock is, you can look at that and go, oh, quite like the sort of Art Deco design. What's BioShock? But it helps if you know BioShock. Just the difference between that.
So this is Adam's, sorry, I've stolen it. But the one that I have is Big Daddy on the hip. And so, which kind of follows it. Like, I love an obscure one, and you wouldn't know what that is unless you'd like played it or watched someone else play it.
Yeah, or if you knew gaming culture in the last 10 years.
So that's my thing.
It's quite interesting, by the way, because by the way, the memes of Hodor and I hold the door for this then. Do you see that?
I held the door for this. Oh,
yeah, I've seen that.
Yeah.
That's tough.
Those are £6 at, the tartan shop on Buchanan Street.
What? You got that there?
Yes, well, it was a sale, I think.
Right, okay.
End of collection thing. because I don't know how long they'll last, because pretty much all the t-shirts that you've got on the Saraya store are around $28.
Yeah.
But that's more the kind of prices, like 20 or 30. But this was £6. And also have the winter is coming one. Which, with sparkled conversation at Burger King, as explained in the update, in the Endgame episode.
I'm a huge fan of the Starks, so I do love. I was going to say something. Oh yeah, I bet she's got great makeup. I'm going to check that out.
I it's because I sidelined Yann thinking we had a sponsor.
No. I bet she's got really good makeup, because it will also be really good for actors, because it's all about like looking good under light and harsh and sweating, and so I would definitely check that out.
She's very present on Instagram. I think it's Real Paige WWE. Paige is exactly like the Charmed character. There's an eye.
Yes, of course. I actually had no idea that's why she was called Paige. I think that's hilarious, because I love Charmed.
We don't know if
the original or the reboot.
Shockingly, the reboot. No. We tried to watch one episode and we actually had to switch the channel. Bad.
Has anybody watched the reboot?
Same. I was in the middle, just like Sabrina. I was like, oh, really? No, that's not for me.
Oh, did you not like Sabrina?
No, but
I didn't watch the original, so I'm like, meh.
Funny thing, Bronson Pinchot is in Sabrina.
The new one or the old one?
The new one. That's the guy that Serge in our video that is most popular.
Oh yeah.
He's back. He's in Sabrina. Yeah.
I just like to imagine that it canonically carries on from Mad Men, because it's I can't remember the actress's name, but she plays Sally Draper, who is Don Draper's daughter. Sorry. In Mad Men, who is Sabrina. So I was like, so Don Draper is just happily walking about with his daughter who's a witch now. That's cool. But that's just because I love Mad Men.
I've seen an interview with her. I mean, the stuff that she's given is crap, but in the interview she looks great and sounds, and it looks like she's great. Yeah, I don't think I have any more to add. You can see how glorious timekeeper is doing his job.
It's such a good idea. I really am into this. What are they called?
Hourglass.
Thank you. Yeah, because we've got a few thanks to Yann. I think they're very nice. They're very aesthetically cool.
I will say for this film, the one of the best jokes in the film, which is so understated, is before the girlfriend comes over for the family meal with the parents, he asks his dad, please put a shirt on, and he comes down in a football shirt, and I went, that is the best joke I've ever seen. That is so good.
It's also very classic.
It's good.
There are people out there that will think that is
I'm wearing a shirt.
Yeah, I am wearing a shirt. Exactly.
So good.
It's perfect. It's so perfect.
Yeah, polo kind of.
If you like that sort of humor, you will like this film. Excellent film.
I felt all the feels in this film. I definitely did.
Good one for parents who are like don't really get what the process of drama school auditions might even be like. To bring it back to an acting perspective, so it may be good to watch, because to understand, like, some people don't always get in, and there are other things you can do if you don't get in. There are other places to go, etc.
And it's also not about you. Like, of course, if you don't get in, I'm not saying give up because you won't ever make it, because that's bullshit. But sometimes it's literally like they've got someone that looks like you already, or they don't have a market for someone that looks like you, or etc. Like, there are so many different factors when it comes to something like wrestling and acting, right? That we saw resemblance to our industry. Like, sometimes it's just not. And I thought that was a really nice scene when the brother's in the car and he's just on the phone to Vince Vaughn, funnily enough. And he's just like, you just don't have the spark and your sister does. And he's just like, this is my dream. I don't know how to do anything else. And it's just kind of heartbreaking, because you kind of feel for the guy. But yeah.
But there we go. There we go. On that happy bombshell of a comedy family drama. I don't know. It's a comedy. I don't know what. Is it it is a comedy.
Yeah, comedy. It's like feel good,
feel good comedy.
Drama.
Wikipedia.
All the genres. Horror, crime, thriller,
Yeah.
true story.
Wikipedia says noir thriller. So
Does it really?
no.
I was about to say. I was like, wait, no.
In a world where wrestling is
Noir.
It's
very boring.
Look down upon this city of crime.
No, that's not very WWE, is it? Noir thriller.
That's where they want to go for the next Batman, I think, right? The Robert Pattinson noir thing.
Robert Pattinson. That's going to be interesting. He's going to have to bulk up a lot.
Christian Bale did it.
Christian Bale did do it. That's true. I think Robert Pattinson isn't as method as Christian Bale, but not saying that he shouldn't bulk up. I'm just saying that Christian Bale's always been a bit more like, I have to become
I am the extreme.
my character. But it'll be interesting because I think it's very different.
Cool. So we're gonna. I think it's the rating time then, shall we?
I think so.
Anouk, Yann, was Fighting with My Family good, bad, or just plain standard? Anouk?
It was good. It was really good. I thought I enjoyed it more than I thought I would as well. It surprised me.
Yann?
Was good. I loved it. I had no expectations. I know nothing about those people. I might have a massive crush on Saraya now.
Me too.
Great. I loved it.
Yes, I echo both your points. You pretty much summed it up. It was excellent.
Yeah.
Good. Highly
Definitely.
good. All right.
Well, team.
A few comments about the stuff that happened while we were not together, but that's very short. A few years ago, the Cannes Festival banned red carpet selfies. This year, because the festival is in progress when we're recording this, it banned Netflix movies.
Oh, did it?
Yeah, it's we're the 20th. We're actually recording this. That's the last day of the festival. I tried to get an accreditation this year. I still didn't get it. And it's funny because I tried last year as an actor and it took a few weeks to get a negative answer. I tried to get a pass as new media this year. I got a negative response in 24 hours.
Wow.
Oh, so brutal.
Yeah, but I mean, with the passes, you get access to all the projections and everything. So that's kind of a big deal.
Yeah.
So yeah.
That's interesting. Netflix movies banned. It's funny though, because I think Netflix used to be this thing of like, oh God, I'm on Netflix. That's so embarrassing as an actor. But actually, like now it's super cool to be like in a Netflix original, right? Because they're actually putting out some really good stuff at the moment. So I think if Netflix keeps going up and up and up, I know they're getting like a bombardment of negative stuff with like people who are highbrow and upmarket, but
It's just because didn't Netflix used to be like Blockbuster? They didn't make anything new. They were just a house for old stuff. And now that they're a competitor for new media and a new place for a new platform. That's the word I'm looking for. A platform for films that are not being greenlit by Hollywood.
Yeah.
That's when they're getting a bit like, oh, this isn't fair. Stop eating archaic.
If you look at the names of what's coming for Black Mirror, I haven't watched the trailers because I've stopped. But like Andrew Scott, Anthony Mackie, Angourie Rice,
Miley Cyrus,
yeah.
Hannah Montana. Great performance.
In terms of tech, that happened a while. I don't know where it's going right now. The Apple streaming services, now we know a bit more about it.
Yeah. I am interested to see how that goes.
Apparently they have subscriptions for news.
Oh,
for
yeah.
Plenty of stuff.
Wow.
And there is a Opera thingy that's happening only on Apple, I think.
Okay.
And some other stuff.
They're going to redesign their Apple TV remote then?
They redesigned the app. That was like the new iOS thing that was released a few days ago with an Apple TV app, actually. But yeah, I don't know.
The remote is odd.
The
remote is odd.
If you have kids, it's dangerous. Lenny had it fell, so obviously the glass broke.
Yeah.
And at 79 euros to get a new one.
That's no Christmas presents for Lenny then.
I find them nice. I like them. But I agree, like they're not practical at all.
One thing that is very cool about the Apple TV, though, I don't know if you've ever, I guess you only have an iTunes UK account, but when you juggle between accounts on the Macs and iPhones and iPads, you can't switch the regions for movies. It will tell you, no, this is attributed to this. If you do that, you'll have to be stuck for 90 days in that region and that kind of thing. That does not happen with the Apple TVs. I have like US, UK, and French, all three in the Apple TV, and we can switch the US one to watch the new Oscar stuff or the French, whichever we want at leisure.
Shall I end this with a funny story about region-locked DVDs?
Yeah.
So I was obsessed when I was a kid with Sonic X, which is ironic. We might, at some point in the future, we might do the Sonic the Hedgehog movie because it got delayed.
Oh.
But Sonic X was the cartoon that was around in the 2000s. Anyway, I missed the final 2 seasons, so I bought them on DVD. But the DVDs never, obviously because I missed the final 2, they didn't come out in Britain. So I had to buy the American versions, which is a different region. And on my old computer, which was how I watched it, because obviously the DVD player wouldn't work, it came up with a message on my computer saying, "This is a different region. You can change your region for our reader on the computer 3 times. That's it." And then it locks. I was like, what? Which was amazing. But this story, unfortunately, has a sad ending, and Anouk can testify to this, because last year, I went to my mum, "Do I still have those DVDs?" And she went, "I don't know, I think they're somewhere." Because I'd found on Google that a used copy of the DVDs went for $600. And I'd given them away to a charity shop.
Oh, £600.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So,
see, this is the thing, guys. As we have so much like stock, I know we have I know some of the stuff we want to keep, and I know like I'm not going to not unbox something. Like I don't understand that. Like I'm going to open everything I get. But like it just makes me think that we should keep everything. Like we're actually losing space. Like I don't know where to put any of my stuff anymore. Like it's getting a bit ridiculous.
I want to get new Lego, but there's nowhere to put it.
No
I don't want to take down the old one.
Still keeping it low key though, because we don't want to become hoarders.
No, we're not there yet.
Exactly.
But Max, now that you don't have DVD players inside, though it's not as apparent, but you used to have 5 shots at changing the region on Max also.
I had no idea about this.
Bizarre.
And I wrote an article 20 years ago on how to actually unlock the region on one specific living room player that I found randomly by touching buttons. I was like, I gave the whole how to do, and I was that was me becoming a hacker or something.
Oh wow!
Our hourglass just run out.
Wow! Well
Damn.
done, but we did so well.
Automatic lock-in, Crystal Maze.
The time that it took to explain to you that whole thing and to bringing up when I went on 5 minutes now. But
well done, team.
I actually got 2 from that place because that was the 2 they had left. And when we have guests, we won't stop at 1 hour. So
yes.
Yeah, but essentially, again, I'm reminding you the clock incident. Come and see me. I'll show you.
It was proudest moment. Yeah.
Oh dear.
Oh well.
I think
Shall we wrap up for now? We will be back.
We will be back.
Stay tuned.
Yeah.
So we'll see you next time. Don't know what it is next, but it might be something. I don't know what comes after this.
It might be something.
It'll be something. It might be Wing and a Fi. That might be out by this point.
Oh God, yeah.
We've been in May. We've been busy, so it's actually just 2 in May. Which, even though we had but anyway, that's life for you guys. So thank you again for listening. Again, I have no idea where the numbers are.
We're closing in on an episode 100, so that's the next milestone for us, I believe.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing.
So we were
Adam,
Anouk,
and Yann. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to another episode of the Good, the Bad, and the Just Plain Standard podcast. If you like what you heard, you can leave us a review via iTunes. If you want to keep up to date with what we're doing, you can check us out on Facebook and Instagram at Good, Bad, Standard Podcast on both platforms. If you fancy seeing the live streams that we talk about on the podcast, they can be found on youtube.com. You search for Milk in a Wineglass. There are other bits and bobs on there too, just to see what Yann's up to during the week. And if you really like us, like really, really like us, why don't you head on over to patreon.com/goodbadstandardpodcast and have a look if you want to support us. Any small donation is appreciated.